Hi, I'm Frank Shipley, creator of Go Thrive Abroad. I help people declutter and simplify so that they can live out their global dreams. My motto is less stuff, more life. For more information, check out gothriveabroad.com. I have with me is Kat Williams, not the comedian, Kat Williams. I want to first talk about her because she has a YouTube channel
I
that
do.
I connected with during the pandemic. It's called Wandering
Good.
Soup.
You know
And
what, Frank? I actually
I
just
got to
changed my
see
name.
what is the YouTube channel now?
It's
What's it called?
called Cat's Wandering Travels or Wandering. I just changed it like yesterday. Honest to God with you. I was messing around with it and I was like, this doesn't suit anymore. And I just, I didn't even think anything about telling you. I apologize. But
That's
it
all
is
right.
Cat's Travels or something like that.
Okay, so I will put the link for that in the
Yeah.
description. So we'll have those details. I can also put it in the video as well. But from watching your YouTube channel, I got to see your day-to-day life in Merida,
Yes.
and it gave me the confidence to see you living your life.
Oh,
Um,
thank you.
I think you were working from home at the time, and watching you live life and enjoy liberation to do it. So I want to thank you for sharing that with the people.
Oh, well, thank you for watching because without,
Yes,
an audience and, I'm talking into a void, if you will. So you and I have known each other for, it feels like a long, 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 long time, but it's been a few years at
yes.
least. And we've been Facebook friends and YouTube friends and all those things. And I want to thank you for just even letting me know that you're watching and that what I'm putting out there is something that's being received and received well.
Excellent. That's good. And it's funny because you were in Merida for a while, and
Mhm.
I felt like Merida was like Atlanta, and I wanted to get there and connect with the people. And then we got to Mexico, and my wife was like, "No, let's stay here." So we never made it to Merida to live, but still watching you helped us move. And
Oh,
so
yeah.
today I wanted to talk with you about take me back if you could.
Mhm.
When did you first decide that you wanted to slow travel or live abroad?
So I have been solo traveling since about 2015 or so. I had a friend who would every year she would leave the country for about 3 months, 3 to 4 months, and it'd be generally during the summer. And I was just like, well, why can't I do that? And so I
Right.
decided to just start traveling. And mind you, I'm ex-military, was in the Air Force for about 10 years. So I've traveled and I got into the energy field of
Mhm.
every 2 to 3 years, I'm looking at a different location. So I've always traveled within the US, but traveling abroad was a different energy, a different thought process. And so I will say for anybody who's watching this, surround yourself with people who are doing what you want to do. That'd be the first lesson. So anyway, I mimicked her. I essentially just Googled, went with the cheapest flight I could find. There was some sales going on, and I did my first solo trip. It was to Vietnam and Malaysia, and I was like, I'm hooked.
Wow.
From that point on. Then I went to Iceland with some friends. I just started going places, and I would just put it out there. I'm going here. If you want to go, go with. If not, I'm still going to be there. And then I met my partner, my wife. We're no longer together, so ex-wife. And I said, hey, we're getting married. I really want to leave the US. And she was like, I'm down. We got married in 2018. We left in 2019. Um, I just got burnt out at work. And I was like, why not now? COVID hit in 2020. I actually sold my home, everything in it. It funded our journey for the first year or two, and it was great. It was the perfect time for me, mentally, emotionally, physically. It was just a good day to fly, and so we did.
Wow.
And
Wow.
I just wanted to because why not?
Okay. Now, other than the military, because I
Mhm.
know you did some travel there. Was Vietnam your first long, slow travel trip?
No, we actually Malay. So the family and I, when we moved, we actually debated on Cambodia or Thailand, and we know that Thailand you can only do 60 to 90 days, versus Cambodia you could do up to I think 6 months to a year, depending on what type of visa. And that's just a hint,
Right.
what type of visa. So we went to Cambodia first. We stayed there for about 8 months. And in that 8 months, we traveled to Bali. We went to Malaysia again, twice actually. I had a group trip. So people met us in Malaysia, and we went to Singapore. We went to Bali, Thailand. I mean, we just did a lot in that 8 months. And then we moved to Vietnam, and we actually got to
Okay.
Vietnam on a Friday, and the country shut down on that Sunday for COVID. So we lucked out.
Okay. Yeah. So, yeah, my first long-term slow travel trip was Bali as well. We went to Bali for 30 days,
It's
and
hot.
it is hot, and it was an amazing trip because food is different there. Everything is fresh, everything is whole foods and natural. So that was
Mhm.
amazing. But that's the first trip when I realized I could be without my stuff, my
Oh, yeah.
possessions, and I could be away out of the country and not miss a thing.
Nothing. If anything, you're going to find that the less stuff gives you the freedom to move more. It gives you the freedom to explore more and touch more, because you don't have to worry about all the stuff that you've accumulated and where it's at and how you're going to maintain it. You just go. A
Right,
lot of people don't realize that when you move abroad, or even slow traveling, that a lot of the homes are fully furnished down to a roll of toilet paper in the bathroom, a towel in the shower, in the closet, and plates. I mean, if there's four people in the home, they're gonna give you four forks, four spoons, four knives, four
right,
cups. Why would I not go? There's a TV on
right,
the wall, a couch, and some pillows and some sheets. I'm good. All thing I need is
right.
my suitcase. Roll it in, and I'm living just that quick.
Yeah, I think that is a misconception that you have to bring everything with you. And most of these places are fully furnished. You just need your toiletries, your clothes, your medicine, your essentials. You don't need everything with you.
Nope. You
Now,
could essentially grab
mhm,
with one suitcase
you can. You
easily.
can. I also encourage people when they're doing trips, stop trying to bring two and three bags. Bring one bag and get your laundry done halfway through the
Right.
trip, and you're set.
Exactly. They've never seen your clothes while you're traveling, love. They don't care. That's
They
not, they
sure don't.
don't care. You don't need 10 pair of shoes. You only got
Hmm.
5 days.
Right,
There's no reason to have 10 pair of shoes and 50 shirts. And you can always buy stuff, unless you're plus size, which I am. Your clothing options will be limited. I'm not going to deny that. But even saying that, one suitcase should be enough.
right. Plenty. Now, when you, I know your place in Merida was pretty large from what I
Hmm.
remember. It was pretty big size. But when you first started traveling international, Did you
Hmm.
were the places smaller to you coming from the States? And how did you
Awesome.
manage with the difference in space size?
So that is a great question. And I will tell you that I don't need a lot of space to live. When I was in the military for most of my time in the military, I lived in a barracks room, just a room, right?
Right,
So I did all my living in that space. So I got used to it. Then I got away from that. And I ended up with the big houses and the car. And so when I got into the smaller space with just my suitcase, I was like, this is what I really truly like. Again, it was less stress, less worry. When the AC unit is on, it's only on in that room. You know what I'm saying? You don't
right,
have to, it's just a less everything. So I love it. I personally could live in a studio apartment by myself. If I had, another person, give me a one bedroom, just so we can have a little separation of church and state. You know what I'm saying? But if it's
right,
just me, throw that suitcase in a corner, baby, I'm solid. So I prefer it. I prefer a smaller space. I was actually in Merida not too long ago, actually a couple weeks ago, with a friend, and they were getting a smaller space, and they were like, "I really truly enjoy smaller spaces. I don't understand why I have a big home." And I was like, "Exactly. You don't." I lived in a 5 bedroom, 3 bedroom, 3 bathroom when I lived in one part of my life. I literally didn't go in 3 of the bedrooms. I remember putting something in one room, losing it in my mind, and coming back a year later going, oh, this is where I put it. This is why I can't find it.
Right.
So what was the point of having this bedroom, right? That I only went in once in a year. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, I have a similar experience. So my wife and I, we were in a 3 bedroom house, and then same thing. We didn't use all the rooms because we had a
Mm-hmm.
fully furnished basement as well. We didn't use all the rooms. We
Yeah,
downsized to a townhouse. Same thing. We didn't use all the rooms. It was a 3-story townhouse, and now we're in a studio. Now it's tight, but
okay.
you learn from other cultures that we don't need all that space. Like
No.
renting storage is a thing we do in the States. These other cultures don't have storage, fill up the whole house and then you need more space. Doesn't exist that way.
Why do we have a rental storage for stuff that we're only going to see once a year, if even that? We just paying
Right,
these people. I am guilty. I had a storage when I moved. We moved abroad. We rented a storage for 3 years. I paid them people for some stuff. I don't even know what was in there in the end. Like it literally didn't matter because I didn't touch it for 3 to 4 years. If you don't touch it for 3 to 4 years, you don't need it. Release
right,
it. Release it to the gods. Let
right.
somebody else, let it be somebody else's problem. America has a problem with we like stuff.
We
Americans
do.
do. And other cultures don't like stuff. You don't need stuff, especially if you're living 3 to 4 families in a home. Really, you just
Yeah,
can't have a lot of stuff. You got people, and people
right.
are stuff at that point. So yeah, I'm down with small living. And it's not for
Now,
everybody.
it isn't. It's a big adjustment, I believe. Now, when you sold the property and then began traveling,
Mhm.
you got a storage, but how
I
was
did.
that decluttering and downsizing and purging? Was that tedious? Was that tough for you?
It was stressful in the sense that I had only had my home at that point, that home for about 2 or 3 years, and I started out from nothing with that home. And I everything in there was personally me in my mind. It still wasn't a lot of stuff, but it was still my stuff, and I had to release that stuff. But it was easy. It wasn't as complicated as it could have been. I was just like, it's a couch, it's a dresser, it's a bed. Somebody else can use it. I put stuff on Marketplace, sold it in, various things. I even had a motorcycle, sold that too. And I was just like, I'll get it again if I want it again. It's just stuff, you know.
Right,
Um, I was okay. Now, was it easy? No, because it's a lot of stuff you still got to get rid of. So the day that we sold the home, or the day before, or a couple of days before, we were still getting rid of stuff, and then went into an Airbnb, and then finally got on our flight out of the country. But I think up until 2 or 3 days, I still had furniture in the home, and then I had one of those people come through, and they just took everything. So it was, and after that, I was okay. I was like, it's done, and yeah, I'm not
right,
getting it back. I missed some of the pieces, but not enough.
right. It sounds like, because I teach the let it go method, I call it, and part of
Hmm.
it is sell, donate, uh, trash. And it sounds like
Yes.
you kind of went through a lot of that, your process of downsizing, sell, donate, trash. And that just simplifies everything. If you just split it up in those 3 categories.
What I tell
And
people also is if you liken it to a house fire, everything went up in the fire. We good. I just like, if somebody's like, in my mind, I was like, it burned up. I don't have it anymore. It burned up. I don't have it anymore. So once I realized it was gone, like completely gone, I didn't crave it anymore. I didn't want it anymore. I didn't have a need to replace it either.
mhm,
It was
mhm,
burned up in the fire. It's my way
yeah,
of adjusting to it being gone.
right. Everybody has their own way, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So for me, working less, traveling, it allowed me to take up hobbies, do more
Mm,
self-care, I call it, like,
yes.
getting massages and walking. And there's a spa that I go to here in Playa del Carmen that has a sauna, steam room,
Mm,
hydrotherapy pool. So, and also I play pickleball down here.
hmm.
I learned how to swim in Mexico.
Oh, you're
Is
doing
there
it all.
something, hobbies or anything you picked up? Is there something you were able to do more of since you traveled?
Oh, yes. So, wow, you're doing great questions, Frank. I'm just gonna tell you that because they're making
Thank
me think. For me, when I first moved abroad, I first had to find myself, right? Because I've never really sat in a room with myself totally quiet without the responsibilities that you typically have in the US as a Black woman working, trying to make it, being better than. So once I got through that transition period, then I had to find what interests me because, I write, I had a podcast at one point, and then I got my new business and, my job and everything like that. But what interests me now that I have all these extra hours in the day?
Right,
Because my business was not taking up uh 8 hours in a day. I didn't even want it to take up 8 hours in a day. That was not my goal when I moved abroad. So it took a while. It took a while for me to find out what worked for me, and what worked for me was walking. So when I travel now, I only travel to places and cities and countries where I can walk every day if I want to. And when I say walk, I'm talking 3 to 5 miles a day in whatever direction I want to go to, whatever these eyes can see, and whatever these legs can carry me, that's where I want to go. So that is really my hobby. I wake up in the morning and I say, do I want coffee in the house or out of the house? If I want it out of the house, where is one? A coffee shop, say 2 miles down the road, a mile down the road. I'm walking. And along that journey, I'm going to stop at 3 or 4 other places. My eyes are going to see other things that I would have never seen before. So that's my hobby when I'm traveling. And I recently fell in love
yeah.
with diamond dotting. Don't ask me how or why,
That,
but
what is that?
it was mine. So diamond dotting is it's almost like paint by numbers, but it's not paint by numbers. It's dots, and you're
Oh,
doing an applique. I have one in front of me. If you don't mind me grabbing it real quick, I'll show you. Let me grab it
okay.
because this is my hobby. I love it. It gives me so much joy. So this is my latest one that I
Oh,
finished. So yeah,
okay. That's amazing.
that's diamond dotting, and it gives me because it lets my brain be free.
Right.
I have a little bit of adult ADHD, not diagnosed, but that's, I'm gonna call it what it is. My brain is doing this.
Yeah.
That makes my brain go, "Rrr." And then, I'm just diamond dotting for hours at a day in a day. So
Okay.
that's what I do. I walk and I diamond dot. And I eat and I walk, and I love cafes. I love a cafe
Oh my
city.
goodness. Yeah.
I love cafes, man. If I can sit outside and people watch and drink a cup of tea or coffee, that is a life for me. A good,
We
pretty
have some
cafe.
of the same hobbies, Kat,
Yeah.
because Playa is a very walkable city, and
Mm-hmm.
I get to do 7 to 10,000 steps a day just by doing
Yes,
errands, going to
exactly.
cafes, going to the
You don't even
grocery
think
store
about
or
it.
the fruterias. You don't. You just look
It's
down
a,
at your
it's
watch or your phone. You're like, wow, okay,
I'm already at 3,000. Might as well walk a little bit more. You know what I'm saying?
might as
I
well.
have this goal. I'm like, I want to hit this goal. And then I'm like, oh, I passed the goal. Well, I still like this wherever I'm going over here. I'm gonna keep walking. And then I look up, it's like you said, 7 to 10K. And I'm like, oh, okay, it was a good day. I sleep better at night. I feel better about myself because health is wealth. And one of the things that you see when you travel abroad is that people are slimmer because they walk. America is
Right,
just not a walkable country. There are walkable cities, and there aren't that many, but the other parts of the world are very much walk. Public transportation. I get on
right.
buses. I don't ride buses in the US. I'll get on a bus in Turkey like it ain't nothing. You know what I'm saying? Because their
Hmm.
buses were actually work. They're very good public transportation. I'll get on the subway. I remember getting on the subway in Greece from the airport. I was like, yeah, they were like, catch a cab. I'm like, no, I'm getting on the subway. It'll be all right. It'll be all right. If I get lost, and I did, I did, but that's okay. That's okay.
That's
I'm
how you
eventually
find your
get
way,
to where
getting
I'm going.
lost.
How many other things can I see along the way? I met somebody. I was like, I'm lost. Can you help me? I'm dragging this suitcase. They were like, you got to go here, here. I'm like, thank you. Shake their
Right.
hands. I got a friend now, sort of. Maybe. I don't know. You never know. So, yeah, I love it. I'm
Now,
sorry. I'm drinking a lot. It's got a
you're
little
fine.
dry.
You're fine. It's interesting that you talk about walking because I call it the cubicle life before I left the States.